LETTER the 25th of Life in Mexico. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Life in Mexico by Francis Calderon de la Barca. Letter the 25th. Plan of the Federalists. Letter from Farias. Signing of articles. Dispersion of the pronunciados. Conditions. Orders of General Valencia. Of the Governor. Address of General Valencia. Departure of our guests. The Cosmopolite. State of the palace and the streets. Bulletin of the firing. Interior of houses. Escape of families. Conduct of the troops. Countess del V.E. Santa Anna. Congress. Anecdote. Discussion in Congress. Leprosy. 28th July. Today is published the plan which was formed by the Federalists for the political regeneration of the Republic. They observe that it is 6 years since the federal plan, adopted freely by the nation in 1824, was replaced by a system which monopolizes all advantages in favor of a few; that evils had now arrived at that height in which the endeavors of a few men, however illustrious, could have no effect in remedying them, rendering it necessary for all Mexicans to unite in one combined and energetic force to better their situation; that salvation can only be hoped for from the nation itself, etc. They then proceed to lay their plan, consisting of 10 articles, before the public. The first restores the Constitution of '24, the national interests to be reformed by a Congress, composed of 4 deputies from each state. By the second, the reformed Constitution is to be submitted to the legislatures of the states for approbation. By the third, they engage to respect the Catholic religion, the form of popular government, representative and federal, the division of powers, political liberty of the press, the organization of a military and naval force, and the equality of rights between all the inhabitants of the nation. By the fourth article, a provisional government is to be established in the capital, whose functions are to be limited exclusively to the direction of the external relations of the republic. By the fifth, this provisional government is to be vested in a Mexican, reuniting the requisites for this employment as established in the Constitution of '24. By the sixth, the republic promises to give back the 10% added to the duties of consumption to those who have paid it until now. By the seventh, in 8 months after the triumph of the present revolution, all interior custom houses are to be suppressed, and henceforth no contributions shall be imposed upon the internal circulation of goods, whether foreign or domestic. By the eighth, they promise to confirm all the civil and military employments of those who do not oppose this political regeneration. By the ninth, the army is to be paid with great punctuality. By the 10th, a general amnesty is promised to all who have committed political errors since the independence, and the names of Farias and Urrea are followed by a goodly list of major generals, colonels, etc. There is also published a letter from Farias, indignantly denying the report of the federal parties having threatened to seize the cathedral, jewels, and plate, accompanied by one from the archbishop himself, not only denying the circumstances, but expressing his satisfaction with the conduct of the Federalist party in regard to all the convents which they had occupied, and the respect which they had shown towards all things pertaining to the church. On the night of the 26th, the articles of capitulation were signed on both sides, a letter from General Andrade having been received by General Valencia, to the effect that as General Urrea had abandoned the command of the troops and left it in his hands, he, in the name of the other chiefs and officers, was ready to ratify the conditions stipulated for by them on the preceding night. This was at 3 in the morning, and about 8 o'clock the capitulation was announced to the pronunciados in the different positions occupied by them, and they began to disperse in different directions in groups of about 100, crying "Vive la Federación." At a quarter before 2 o'clock, General Manuel Andrade marched out with all the honours of war to Tlanapantla, followed by the pronunciados of the palace. This morning at 11, Te Deum was sung in the cathedral, there being present the archbishop, the president, and all the authorities. The bells, which have preserved an ominous silence during these events, are now ringing forth in a confusion of tongues. The palace being crippled with balls, and in a state of utter confusion, the president and his Ministers occupy cells in the convent of San Agustin. The federalists have marched out upon the following conditions: first, their lives, persons, and employments, and properties are to be inviolably preserved. Second, General Valencia engages to interpose his influence with the government by all legal means, that they may request the Chambers to proceed to reform the Constitution. Third, all political events which have occurred since the 15th up to this date are to be totally forgotten, the forces who adhered to the plan of the 15th being included in this agreement. Fourth, a passport out of the republic is to be given to whatever individual, comprehended in this agreement, may solicit it. Fifth, the troops of the pronunciados are to proceed to wherever General Valencia orders them, commanded by one of their own captains, whom he shall point out, and who must answer for any disorders they may commit. Sixth, General Valencia and all the other generals of his army must promise on their honour, before the whole world, to keep this treaty, and see to its exact accomplishment. Seventh, it only applies to Mexicans. Eighth, whenever it is ratified by the chiefs of both parties, it is to be punctually fulfilled, hostilities being suspended until 6 in the morning of the 27th, which gives time to ratify the conditions. The president may exclaim, "One such victory more, and I am undone." Orders are issued by General Valencia to the effect that until the federalist troops have marched out of the city, no group passing 5 in number will be permitted in the streets; that until then there is to be no trading through the streets; that at 3 o'clock the eating houses may be thrown open, but not the taverns till the next day; and that the police and alcaldes of the different wards are held responsible for the accomplishment of these orders, and may make use of armed force to preserve order. The governor enforces these orders with additions. People must turn in at 9 o'clock, or give an account of themselves; must give up all their guns, carbines, etc., to the alcalde, under a heavy penalty; and none, excepting military men, may go on horseback from 5 in the evening until 6 in the morning, during 5 days. General Valencia makes a pathetic address to his soldiers, and foretells that henceforth all mothers, wives, and old men will point them out as they pass, saying, "There go our deliverers," and adds, "I grow proud in speaking to you, inhabitants of this beautiful capital." He says again, "The aurora of the 15th of July was very different from that of the 27th. That prognosticated destruction, this rises announcing happiness. Never again will you hear the crash of cannon but to celebrate the triumphs of your country or to solemnize your civic functions. May your words be prophetic, and especially may you yourself assist in their accomplishment." 29th. Our guests have left us, all but Monsieur , who, although recovered, cannot yet be moved. All money, plate, and jewels in our charge are restored to their rightful owners, and the Spanish colours, which have never been hoisted, return to their former obscurity. I reopen the piano, uncover and tune the harp, and as we have been most entirely shut up during 13 days of heavenly weather, feel rejoiced at the prospect of getting out again. As yet I have not seen the state of things in the city, but the Cosmopolite of to day says I should wish to have the pen of Jeremiah to describe the desolation and calamities of this city, which has been the mistress of the New World. In the days of mourning that have passed, we have not been able to fix our eyes on any part of it where we have not encountered desolation, weeping, and death. The palace has become a sieve, and the southern bulwark is destroyed. That part of the portal which looks toward the Monteria is ruined. The finest buildings in the centre have suffered a great deal. Innumerable houses at great distances from it have been also much injured by stray balls. Persons of all ages, classes, and conditions, who interfered in nothing, have been killed, not only in the streets, but even in their own apartments. The balls crossed each other in every direction, and the risk has been universal. The city has been in the dark during these days, without patrol or watch, and many malefactors have taken advantage of this opportunity to use the murderer's